they were actually cutting the dues in half so that they would be affordable to membership by new members.
Got it. Good stuff. Group 3. What was one of the challenges that you talked about?
Keeping members engaged was one, but that's probably not the one that's most important. I think it's there was some speak by 2 of our groups that's identified that their club doesn't mirror their community. Along with the others about raising money and the like above.
Yeah, sure. Leanne, I hope you're okay because you're room 4.
I am room 4.
Okay.
Yes, I'm good. So we had some fundraise stuff around fundraising as well, but one of the comments was fundraising innovation and possibly getting some fundraising ideas that were moving away from being so labor intensive. And also possibly getting some ideas that weren't outdoors and dependent on the weather. And of course, finding some things that with COVID kind of still, you know, in and out, that people wouldn't be hesitant to come and do.
Got it. Cool. That was room 4. Room 5. What was a challenge or 2 that you talked about?
Okay, so in our group, one of the challenges was an aging club.
Okay.
And therefore, there was also some, you know, there's burnout involved in that because, you know, the 80-20 rule, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. So, and then also kind of intertwined in there is tradition versus vision.
That's an interesting one. Oh, we're gonna have some fun with this one. All right. Group 6, if I haven't lost count. Anyone? Okay. Group 7.
We didn't pick a speaker, but I can make a comment. We talked about communication, where senior members just carried on throughout the pandemic and trying to get the newer members engaged. And we also talked about too much communication, too many emails from Rotary at all levels and within the club, and having clear communication that people knew where to get the information rather than being bombarded with emails. And we also talked about processes to follow restructuring the number of committees that we have.
Got it. Okay. In the spirit of keeping us on track and on time, I am confident that there are more out there, but hopefully this list represents the bulk of it. I'm just going to do a quick pan. Is there a burning challenge that someone feels is super critical that needs to be on this list that isn't?
One item was creating a hybrid format for meetings.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, that's what we had, that too, the idea of making hybrid meetings work.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. These challenges are absolutely challenges. And I will tell you, once upon a time, pre-COVID, these are not the ones we were talking about. So we've got a bit of a different animal here.
I'd say finding new venues, because our venue for the past 10 years closed during the first year of COVID. So we've got to find a new one now that we're going to hybrid or in person.
Yeah,
and we kind of we could tag along with that too, about the new venue and also with a reasonable price.
Here too.
Yeah, got it. All right. Well, thank you so much for having the conversation around those challenges. And I'm really glad that, you know, for anybody who did put down membership, that you dug a little deeper. So I'm going to move forward. We're going to come back to them, but at the end. So I am going to try and do this correctly again. And okay. Do you just see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, nailed it. Okay. All right. So I've got another thing for you to help me with. So what I need you to think about is, why did you join Rotary? Okay, this is the infamous question. Why do you belong to Rotary now? And what I need to know, okay, and what I'm going to be asking a couple of people to share is, why is there a difference between those two answers for you? Right? So I'm less concerned with the story of why you joined. I'm less concerned with why you belong now. I am most concerned with why there might be a difference between why you joined and why you belong. Okay. So I'm going to give you a minute or two to work on that. And then I'm going to ask you to put your hand up, either using the hand up button or actually physically, and I'll try to capture a couple of people's thoughts. Right. Okay. And just a reminder, if you're not on mute, just right now, to toss yourself back on mute until you're going to speak. Perfect. Thank you. Sharon is an eager beaver. Sharon, just give us a minute. I want to make sure people have time to write down their thoughts, and it looks like most people are there. So Sharon, you raised your hand first. So tell me, please, why did you join? I don't necessarily need to know the details, but most importantly, why is there a difference between why you joined and why you stay today?
Well, I joined because someone asked me to join, and I thought Rotary was great. And I belong to Rotary because it's a choice that I made. I saw the value in Rotary. It reflected what I believed and what I, wanted to do and volunteer with.
That's fantastic. Super. Who else? Bob, would you like to weigh in with what the thing was that made you stay on and what the difference was?
Yep. Well, I joined because I was asked for business reasons. I stay on because of the satisfaction of service above self. The difference of business reasons can be fleeting. The satisfaction we get out of being Rotarians is long lasting.
Perfect. Thank you. That's the benefit of typing, is I can type faster than I can scribe and I can scratch it out. Super. Thank you. Rachel, what would you like to share with us?
So I joined mostly because I'm really involved in the community, but I stayed, and why I'm a part of it because I quickly identified the need, and there's a huge need for people in the community to step up. And once you identify that, it's really hard to walk away, and you just want to be a part of it.
So Rachel, is it fair to say that you learned more about your community and that's what got you sort of stuck?
Absolutely. I had no idea the needs that there was. There's a lot more needs than I ever guessed there was. And being a part of it and a part of the solution, or at least contributing, feels really good.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm going to ask Anthony next and then Robert. And if there's anyone who is really dying to share, raise your hand now. Otherwise, those will be our last two. So Anthony, go ahead.
Yes, the reason why I joined Rotary is because I was asked by a business partner. And of course, I appreciated what Rotary was doing, so I joined. But there was too much politics in the club where I was, so I dropped out because I think that's not appropriate. And I moved to Toronto just very recently, and I still know that there is a need for for what Rotary provides the service that Rotary provides, and I still want to be participating in that giving of service, giving of oneself. So I've rejoined the Rotary in Toronto West. I came from another district, and now I'm with and I don't see that there's much difference between why I joined and why I'm staying, because I joined and I continued to stay on, just a different club.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm actually going to lift something you said there, and maybe it's not a reason you stay, but it was a reason you left, which was the politics, right? And I'll speak to that in a minute. So I'm going to put it in the positive for just a moment. All right. Robert.
Yes, I'm probably a little unique here. I was a charter member, so no one ever asked me to join Rotary, but it was announced and I was on a board, and one of my employers at the time was getting a new club started, and told the members of the board that I worked for that there was going to be a Rotary club involved starting up in our area. At which point, and the reason my lights went up is because about a month before I had chatted with a person from my field in another municipality at a workshop, and he came to me and said, if you ever have a chance to join Rotary, do so. And then so it all came together that way. So in that sense, why did I stay in Rotary? Because that was 35 years ago, and at first it was to connect with people, because I felt I was a public librarian, so connecting to your community was essential to knowing what your community is about. But as I stayed in Rotary, I saw everything that Rotary was about, and it's so connected to the kinds of things I feel are important in my life. And so I never go to a Rotary conference or whatever and say, oh, they're against something that I believe in. It seems to connect closely to what I believe in, and that's why it makes sense staying.
Yeah, perfect. That's amazing. All right, John, you are the last one.
Okay, why did I join? I have been a taker all my life, and I wanted to start giving back. What's the difference between then and now? It almost sounds like a selfish reason. I have a great pleasure in the knowledge that I have made a difference.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I want you to reflect on this list and just think for a moment. If these are the things that you value about your experience as a Rotary member, do you think that these are probably the things that other people also value as a Rotary member? I'm looking over to my right, and I know a couple of folks have gone off video, but for those of you who are still able to share with me, just nod, thumbs up, whatever it might be. Does this resonate with you? Yeah, that's fantastic. So with that in mind, we're going to do the swap again. And we're going to go here, and we're going to go, sure, there's a smoother way of doing this, but I only have so many screens. So again, we talk about, what you want out of it, and other people want the same thing. And, the big takeaway, I heard a lot of people say part of something, connected, doing something, and being involved in the community. And those are all really important things that contribute to a healthy club. So I'm going to shift gears for a moment and talk to you about a model that was established actually in regards to the life cycle of other sort of organizations, other social organizations, specifically churches, but it sort of fits here too, okay? So it's got 4 components to it. And for those of you who have seen this before, bear with me, just hopefully you'll learn something new. And then when we break out, you can help explain it to your teams a little bit more. So there's four elements to what we believe it makes for a healthy, vibrant club. Okay, the first one is vision. Right. The second one is relationships, namely relationships between members of your club. You could maybe extend it to, relationships between members of your club and your community. The third is the work that you do or the projects. Okay. And the last is what we'll call management. And I'll explain that a little bit more as we move forth. Again, it's our belief that these are the four things that contribute to a club's well-being. Okay. So again, some of you might have seen this and you're probably thinking, well, this looks like a life cycle curve. Well, yeah, it is. So I'm going to tell you a little story to tell you about how this curve works. And I'm going to tell you a story and ask you to contribute around how Rotary came to be, right? So there once was a man called Paul Harris. Does anybody know why or how Rotary originated? Like what was the idea that Paul Harris had in his mind? And if you've got something, just shout it out. Take yourself off mute and shout it out.
Well, Paul Harris wanted to establish in his own life the values he saw in small town Vermont that he grew up in.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Chicago.
Yeah, you're spot on, Robert. So what he wanted was he came from a small town and he came to the big city of Chicago and he said, I'm a little lonely, right? I haven't got as many friends as I'd like and it doesn't have that small town feel. And heck, I'd really like to make some friends, right? So with that in mind, he said, well, I'm going to get a bunch of people together. And at that point, arguably, it didn't have a name, right? It just had this intent or this vision for what could be. And when it started, it was very much just, let's make some friends. So time moved on and a couple of people came together and they started to build relationships, right? Got to know one another, made some friendships, got to know more about one another and the things that each other were interested in. And next, over time, they started to do work together. And they started to do work together, namely because they felt, well, hold on a minute. We've got some resources at our disposal, whether that was time or energy or expertise or money. And they said, I think there's an opportunity to do something with all of this. And so does anybody know what one of their first pieces of work was? One of the first projects? Michael, Martin.
Yeah, the first project of the Rotary Club was, well, when they weren't even calling it the Rotary Club at that point, but was to build a public washroom in Chicago.
Absolutely. They built toilets in downtown Chicago because the need that they saw was that people were peeing on the wall and that wasn't very nice. And so they said, yep, we can do something about this. I think they called them like public something or the others. It was a very polite name, but yeah, essentially they were toilets, right? They were bathrooms. And time went on and people found out more and more about this. And they said, this Rotary thing, there's something to it. And we too, in our community, want to do good things. And so, more clubs started and more relationships were built and more projects started to happen. And then Rotary started to become a thing over time. And they needed something to make sure that everything stayed in order. So they instituted what I'm going to call as management, right? This idea of, okay, we got to have some bylaws. We got to have some guidelines. We got to have some structure to make sure, board of directors, to make sure that this thing we call Rotary follows the same practices, right? So I'll pause here for a moment because I'm actually going to stop telling you about the journey of how Rotary came to be and talk a little bit about what happens on the other side of the curve. Before I go there, what I want to highlight to you is you'll notice we're at the top of the curve, right? The health of your club is optimum. Of course, it's taken time, but all four things, when your club is operating at its peak, right? There's a vision in play, there's relationships, there's project, there's important work going on, and there's structure. Does some of this stuff sound familiar from when we first started, when we talked about what a vibrant club looks like? Hopefully, right? So help me out here. What do you think's the first thing to go as a club declines in health over time? What's the first of these things to go?
Vision.
Vision. Absolutely. Matt, tell me a little bit more about that. I think that was you who spoke up.
Yeah, we had Lars and Virginia help us with a visioning session at the beginning of our current Rotary year. Yeah. And we actually went through this exercise. So I'm cheating a little bit. I've seen this graph before, and I recall how powerful and impactful and insightful that it is.
You know, I was going to put out a word of caution. If you've seen this or answered this question before, don't, but that's okay. Does anybody have a different feeling towards this? Does anybody believe that something else might go first?
Yeah, I think relationships.
Fair point. Jim, do you want to say more about that?
Well, the club or the leadership in the club always has a vision, but if they cannot develop relationships between them and the doers in the club, and if the doers in the club can't establish meaningful relationships in the 80% that isn't the 20%, then no amount of vision is going to work. So relationship, I think, is extremely important. Vision is important, but the relationships that you develop and maintain, that's the only way that you're going to realize the vision.
Yeah, no, those are really great comments. Roger, I'm going to hand did you want to weigh in? I'm going to hand the floor to you next, and then I'm going to move forward.
Yeah, excuse me. I think projects and a common goal has to be up there as well, because if you have nothing to do, why are we here?
Oh,
you can have all the vision you want, you can have all the relationships, you can have a great board, but if you got nothing to do, why are we here?
Yeah, no, that's really fair too. So I'm going to say that I'm going to agree with Matt, and I'm going to say vision is often the first thing to go, and I'll sort of just give you a little bit of backup. So when we see clubs start to deteriorate, it's often because that sense of purpose, that sense of why it's important to be a part of your club has gone away, right? So arguably people still enjoy coming together, having lunch, chit-chatting, catching up, right? You still do very valuable work, right? There's still a strong board, but vision is often the first thing to taper off. People, there's no sense of sort of like, what's the bigger picture here? Why are we around, right? So you continue to truck along for a bit. And often, you're absolutely right, that relationships deteriorate soon thereafter. Why? Because we've all got really important things to do in our life, and Rotary is but one of them. So if I'm going to sit there and wonder, well, should I be spending time with my kids, or should I be spending time at a Rotary meeting where I'm not quite sure what I'm contributing anymore or what we're all about? You're probably going to make the choice to spend your time elsewhere. And so now people stop coming, people stop engaging, you know, those relationships start to deteriorate. And you may still find yourself with very valuable projects and a board that's in place, right? And management practices that are in place. Those projects might start to chug along, right? They don't necessarily innovate, they just keep on going, right? Next, what we often find are the projects that go. And when I talk about projects going, I don't necessarily mean that they disappear. It might be that they just get sort of stale, right? They don't have a lot of energy behind them. You've run them the same way year over year over year. And by the end of it all, what you're left with, right, if your club is at this point, which hopefully it's not, and we're going to go there next, but what you're left with is a really functional board that makes decisions over things like what you might be having for lunch or dinner or breakfast at your next meeting. Right? So we're going to take a moment to reflect on this. And this exercise can be a little bit personal. So I need you to know that when you're in the breakout rooms, nothing is recorded, and you're all friends and each other's support system. So, keep things within that group. The exercise I'm going to ask you to go away and do is, I want you to take a moment to reflect on this curve and tell me, well, you don't actually need to tell anybody where you are, right? You can keep that to yourself. What I need you to reflect on is, what tells you that that's where you are? It could be positive things. It could be negative things, right? You could be on the up. You could be at the top. You could be on the right. What I'm looking for is sort of a descriptor, okay? So same deal. If you could, again, if you're between 0 to 25, pop into room 1 or 2, 26 to 50, pop into room 3 or 4, 50 to 85 or so, pop into room 5 or 6. If you're 85 or bigger, pop into room 7. Hopefully I won't need to rebalance you. But again, where are you? That's not necessarily what you need to share if you don't want to, but what signals you as to, what did you think about as you said, yeah, I think we're here. What's happening in your club? All right, so I'm gonna look to my right. I'm gonna see, is everyone okay with this? Does anyone have any questions about the exercise? All right, you look like you're okay. So you're gonna have about, I'm gonna say 5 or 6 minutes, maybe more, but we'll see how it goes, okay? Deb, could I ask you to hit the buttons, please?
Doesn't seem to want to let me go. Join.
No such luck.
It won't let me go.
All right. We'll just see if
Sandia, you may need to stop share.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me neither.
Sorry. Better?
It won't let me join either.
No. I see some people are in there. The other 2 are in there.
Mine says not joined.
I can't join either.
Okay.
No, won't let me join.
Let me see.
You could actually just put us all back in the same room.
7 the maximum or something? Because I think what I see.
I think there's a maximum set, or no?
No.
No maximum.
No, there we go.
There.
Okay.
It's just a bit of a delay. Does someone want to stop the recording or pause it, just so that any conversation we have here isn't happening?
It will only record this. It will not record the breakout rooms.
No, I know, but I don't know if you want if you want to chat, then I don't want that recorded.
Oh.
Button. Okie dokie. I'm not screen sharing. Please hold. Cool. All right. So my question to you, I don't remember if I told you to select a speaker, but maybe we don't need that. I'm just going to ask some folks to raise their hands. So I'm going to take a couple of answers here. So again, you don't need to tell me where you are on the curve if that's not information you want to share. But what I'd like to know is, what did you think about as you made those decisions? So is there anybody who wants to go first? Paige.
Oh, hi. So we kind of discussed about some of the highs and the lows of Rotary and some of the longer members versus the newer members. And I feel like the common theme for a high is just having relationships, having opportunities for connection and engagement. And the lows would be, I guess, COVID and like having barriers to engaging with your members, because that kind of, it felt like that kind of related to or inhibited visions and inhibited connection. And when we are looking at the earlier part of this presentation and tonight's session, having why people join Rotary and why they're in Rotary is about connecting with people. So that's kind of what we took away from our discussion.
All right, we're done. Paige has like gotten to the conclusion already, but Thank you, Paige. Larry, thanks, Paige. Hey, Larry, what did you guys talk about? What were some of your signals?
We agree with Paige. There was a recurring theme in our groups that COVID has made this worse. Like all our clubs have been like on autopilot for the past 2 years, and so we've been going through the motions of you come together, you meet, you go through your Zoom stuff, whatever. But it's hard to sustain the passion for Rotary when you can't do anything, you can't raise any money. So it's affected our vision, it's affected relationships, it's affected projects. It hasn't affected management perhaps, but it's affected those other 3 dimensions. And as a result, I mean, clubs, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but I think all the clubs were sliding a little bit to the right over the past couple of years on that bell curve as a result of feeling immobilized during COVID.
Yeah, no, those are all really fair points. And I'm not going to give you a way out of the COVID impact. Okay. I'll put that up front. Sorry. What I am going to tell you is, interestingly enough, these are some of the very same things we've heard when COVID wasn't around. Right. So know that the things that you're going to learn today and the tips that you're going to walk away with are still relevant. Okay. Deborah.
Yeah, we have in our group, we have an interesting problem, an interesting perspective. I think we were sort of on all sides of the curve, but that's because we share one thing in common, and we're well over 100 members in each of our clubs. So I think that in itself brings a whole other challenge. When you're talking about engagement, when you're talking about relationships and communication, when you're trying to sustain that with 108 to 130 members, it brings whole new challenges. So the one thing that we discussed is, when our membership engagement is great or membership development is great, but when do you have too many members? When does it become impossible to, like, when do you then start having to become a well-oiled machine to manage your membership instead of actually being a service club and enjoying one another's, engaging and doing events together and that sort of thing. So there are problems with larger clubs.
No, absolutely. Virginia, you have got the mic to round us out before I go.
Okay, well, I'm Leanne right now, okay? So 2 interesting points that I haven't heard yet. Well, possibly one was re-energizing the club to get back into the habit of projects. I think Larry sort of touched on that. But a great comment, a fabulous comment I thought was, take a breath. Let's not rush in like crazy. Let's celebrate our success that we survived. Now, let's let those relations, let's give ourselves a pat in the back and celebrate that we've actually survived, and that will probably give us re-energize us to take off again.
Yeah, no, that's really, those are very fair points. All right, I'm going to move us forward. And I've realized that if you've been paying attention, you might have cheated, okay? Because the answers were up on my left, but I'm hoping that you didn't. So can someone just, when a club has vision, and I am showing you all the answers, hold please. There we go. When a club has vision, what do you think happens? What does a club with vision look like? Just shout it out.
Happy.
Happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say excitement, some excitement.
What else?
Passionate.
Passionate.
Probably easier to deal with conflict of different projects, because if something comes up, well, is that, how does that fit in where we want to be? Because they're all great projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. What else?
Common purpose.
Common purpose. Yeah.
Having goals and the excitement of anticipation of achieving the goals.
Yeah.
Much easier to get new members as well.
Yeah. Why is that, Michael?
Well, because there is a vision, there's a mission. People are involved, whether they are involved because they want to do projects, general projects, or whether they want to do fundraising, there are outlets for them to deal with.
Jackpot. Absolutely.
People want to be part of that.
People, exactly. Well, you said you wanted to be a part of it. Sorry, you guys are over here. My camera is over here, but all of you said you wanted to be a part of it. Other people want to be a part of it too, right? Other people want to be part of a well-functioning club and organization. So again, I'll just, you've said these things. So club with vision, there's passion, there's direction, there's goals, there's leadership. There's a sense of why we are here. There's a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, there's motivation. So now, just tell me a little bit about what a club might look like without that, right? Without vision, what might a club look like?
Stagnant, because it's not a living organism anymore.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, Rhonda. What else?
Becomes a social club.
Social organization, members are
in name only Rotarians.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What else?
Disengaged.
Yeah.
Lack of participation.
Spot on. Anything else?
Blame passing.
What's that? Sorry, Jim?
They pass the blame. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow Jim, and I don't mean to be negative, but like I think some people get a sense of resentment or disappointment that that's not what they signed up for, and that's not what they believe.
Yeah, spot on. So here's how I've put it, right? Members start to disappear because again, they're disconnected, Rachel, as you bring it up to, this isn't what I signed up for, right? I was joining for this and now it's this, I'm out, right? There's no direction. Again, there's no shared sort of, yep, this is what we're working towards. These are what our actions are towards. There's no stress. And I think we've talked about this a little bit, but stress isn't always a bad thing. And I'm sure many of you have had moments in your life where it's been a bit stressful and that's been energizing stress, right? So, in a club that is without vision, there's often complacency, right? People get into their comfort zone, right? We open the box for this fundraiser. We run it the same way we did last time. We pack up the box, we put it in the storage unit. Oh, look, it's April again. We do the same thing, right? There's no raison d'etre. Oh, my French accent was really good there. But there's no reason anymore, right? It's just routine. And things are a bit smooth and predictable. And, people think, oh, smooth and predictable, that's good. We know what's going to happen, but that gets boring after a while. Just reflecting on my own personal experience, the smooth and predictable over COVID of going to my home office and going to my kitchen restaurant every day got a little tedious and tiresome, right? And unfortunately, what can sometimes happen is if all of this doesn't get caught in time, clubs go into what we'll call a death spiral, right? It is not good and it is really hard to get out of, okay? So a lot centers around having that vision, having that sort of crux of things. All right, so I'm going to offer you some happy stuff. I know we've talked about some tough stuff. For those of you who may have found yourself sort of on the upward side of this curve, that's fantastic. Continue doing and building your strength up. If you find yourself on the downward slope, maybe you were somewhere here before and you're in that sort of valley or getting there. Here's what I'm going to say is that the earlier you catch what's going on in your club and address it, right, the easier it is to take action. If your vision starts to disappear, you can resurrect that. And I can't remember who it was who said, yeah, we engage with the district visioning team to have them sit down with us and help us think about, what we're about and what we're there for. I'm going to tell you, if people don't want to work together anymore, if your relationships start to perish and your vision's gone, it gets a little bit more difficult. right? Because now you don't have passionate people that are willing to rally around something. If you're at the point where things are really staid and you really don't know what you're about, people are disengaged and not interested, and those projects are like, you know, either very static and exactly the way they were last year, and there's no innovation, and all you're doing is sort of managing things, I will tell you, it's really hard to get past that point, okay? And you may be better to say, I wonder if it's time to think about collapsing what we've got and restarting with renewed passion, right? If you think about climbing a hill from a, you know, not great place, that's a tougher place to recover from, okay? So I am going to tell you the things you can do, but I told you that you're going to get an opportunity to come up with a plan. So hopefully all of you have that survey in front of you. And I want to give you a couple of minutes to fill out that survey. And it is so important, folks, that you do this. Please don't just glance over the answers. Get a pen, get your survey. If it's digital, get another sheet of paper, and please put down what you believe are your answers, right? And this is your reflection as the future leader of your club, okay? So I'm going to take a couple of minutes to fill out that survey, please.
I don't have the survey.
Michael, you don't have the survey. Okay.
I don't either. I have
No,
the.
I don't either.
I just
Okay.
have the profile worksheet.
Okay, so I'm going to put this profile worksheet. Yes, that's it. Does it look like this? Hold on. Does it look like this?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I mean by survey.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I suck.
I don't have that.
Okay, so I'm going to keep this up on my screen, and then we'll make sure it gets to people. But if you can maybe just use what's up on the screen and jot your answers down. You don't need to tally it or anything like that. Okay.
Are you able to post it to the chat box and we can pull it from there?
It might be ugly. Could I get it to you afterwards, Larry? But could
Sure.
you work on it from here?
Okay.
I can try to do it. Can I post it in there for everyone to
Yeah.
see?
I think, yeah, yeah, if you can, we should be able to pick it up from there.
Give me a second.
I can try it too. Give me just a minute. I don't know how it'll come across in formatting.
No,
It would be
just
No, it's
copying
okay.
copying the
do your
entire
thing.
file.
I'll figure it out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, sorry, Brainiac over
Upload the
here.
file.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I can. Go ahead, Paige, and do the exercise, and I'll get this up.
Okay.
It would be good if you could email it to us too, because I don't have that either.
Yeah, I'm gonna look to your district leaders to email that to you afterwards. But in the meantime, let me get this into the chat, please. Okay. Oh, please hold. Question is where did I put it? Okay, hopefully everyone got it via there. And I'm going to also send you the next document just in case you didn't get that. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. And if folks could just give me, I'm running a teensy-weensy bit behind time because you've all had such great ideas to share. My fault, not yours, but if you could just give me a bit of a head nod if you have finished doing that survey or that questionnaire. Okay, all right. So what I will offer you is this can be done also by your board. Some members asked for that. So if you want a clean copy, you now have one, but this is the start of coming up with a plan. So depending on where you are, okay, if you've said, for example, so this is going to become a little bit more challenging for me to share. Please hold just 1 second. 1 second. This is when I need like 10 screens. Okay. So I'm going to, okay, can you guys see a brochure?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to flip flop a bit. So this questionnaire is tied to this brochure, right? And these are the things that'll give you some solutions to challenges that you might be facing and ideas on that you might take. So let's say, I'm not going to go through all of them, but let's say you've gone and said, our club has a vision that is current and we have written long-term goals, and you go, I don't know that I agree, right? So on this brochure, on the very last page, here you go, right? In the top left quadrant, it says, if that's what you're struggling with, then decide what you'd like your club to be like in 3 to 5 years. And guess what? You could plan a visioning session, and your district does have people who can help you with this. Or you could use the Rotary Club Health Check, or you could use the Strategic Planning Guide, right? These are all tools available to you from Rotary's site to help you address that challenge, okay? The way this spreadsheet or this grid is connected to this questionnaire is it goes across and then diagonal. So let's do the next one. We set annual goals that support our long range goals. All right. Don't feel quite that way? Well, then there's something you can do, right? Again, tools and resources. And then the next question will go this way, right, on the diagonal. And then it goes across and then it goes diagonal. So it's all connected, all right? So I won't go through all of them. If you find yourself saying, you know what, yeah, we're good. The relationships within our club are generally healthy and positive. Great. Keep on doing what you believe is contributing to that. Okay. And again, maybe there's also some new ideas on this grid that will help you to do that. Okay. So I believe that's question number 5, or no, that was question number 7, right? So again, just to firm it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, great. Actually, you know what? We do a great job, and we could maybe learn some more from this thing around introducing new members to Rotary. Okay, so anything in bold are things that you can find resources on. And if you struggle to find resources on these online on RI's website, please engage your AG. Okay. All right, folks, I am coming to a close, but there's a few last couple of things I want to share with you. So I'm not going to go through all of these. These are the things that are on that. Oh, wow. There. These are the things that are on that grid, all right, that you can do to make a difference. The one thing I am going to offer you is, you know, when it comes to bylaws and things like that, please don't let the rules stand in your way. Obviously, don't put your club at risk, right? You know, if a new idea is going to cost you $1 million and that's all your club has to go with, maybe not. But don't let rules stand in your way. Give it a try, and give things a go. I didn't talk about consensus earlier, but I'll talk about it briefly now. As you take on the helm and you want to maybe do things differently because you see an opportunity, I often ask people for the definition, and I'm going to offer it to you instead. Consensus isn't about getting everyone on board, right? It's about making sure that you've sort of got everyone on board, at least directionally, with where you want to go, and that you're not going to have any major road bumps, right? Everyone might not agree, but they are on board. And that means that you've likely done a good job at listening to what some of those challenges are that people are facing, and you've heard them out, and you've maybe mitigated them, but at least people know that they're being heard. Okay. So with that, I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to ask you to come up with a bit of a plan. So pen to paper, please don't not do this, because I know it's almost 8 o'clock. In your journal or on that sheet of paper, now knowing where your club is at and having the resources available to you of what that Vibrant Club Guide suggested, what are the 3 things that you are now going to do in your year as president to make a difference? They don't need to be this big. They just need to be something in the right direction. So I know folks are still writing, and this is a really important task. So if you're not finished, please take the time to wrap it up. This will really help you shape the direction that you take. I'd encourage you to share this with your board members, to share this with your club members, because very honestly, that vision that you set, the things that you want to do, need to be owned by everyone in order to make it a success. Okay. So what's next? I know that your district has some training programs and things like that, and I'd encourage you to participate in those. But I just want to make sure that we leave having accomplished our goals. So if you want to get to a vibrant club, what's the first thing you need? Shout it out. Someone shout it out. Don't be afraid. Vision, yay! My day is made. What's the next thing you need?
Relationship.
You know, everyone says that, and I don't disagree. One of the things that you pointed out as to why people stayed, and you might not have heard it, was that people learn more. They learn how they can contribute. They learn what needs there are. They learn more about the organization they belong to. So I'm going to offer you that the next step to get those relationships built and really engage members is actually knowledge and education. So you've got vision, you've got knowledge and education. Now you have what sort of people? Starts with an E.
Engaged.
Yay, yay. So with that, you're going to have engaged membership, and that is ultimately going to lead you to having a vibrant club. Okay. Like that. Folks, I've had an amazing time with you tonight. Part of the thing about becoming district governor is sometimes you have to step away from the things that bring you great joy, such as training and sharing your knowledge. So thank you for the opportunity to do that tonight. I leave today a really, really happy and excited person. I hope I've offered you something of value. You are more than welcome to get connected with me. My email flashed up really quickly. If you didn't capture it, by all means, Joseph has it. He's in touch regularly. So please drop me a line. I'd love to hear about the successes of your clubs. And I'd love to be there for you if you need a helping hand as well. So thank you.
Okay, Joseph, over to you for a minute, please. Thank you.
Sandia, on behalf of everyone here today, thank you. What a session, excellent, well done. As an incoming president, the subject of Vibrant Club is paramount. The training this evening has been an inspiration, I think, for me and I think hopefully everybody else here. And I think we all leave here more excited to go back to our clubs and share our own way forward to a vibrant club. Sandia, once again, thank you for speaking to us today. We have made a $200 donation to the Rotary Foundation in your name.
Thank you.
So everyone, will you please join me in thanking Sandia? So let's give her a big hand.
Thanks, folks. Your time, your energy, and that donation means the world to me. Thank you so much.
And thank you personally, Sandia. Thank you, and all the best in your DG year. It'll be here very, very soon.
That I know, and thank you very much for your support. If you'll excuse me, I actually have another family gathering to get to, so enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to take your leave. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Sandia.
Thank you, Sandia.
Bye.
All right, and just before I turn over to Joseph, who has a couple of things to chat with you about, I do want to remind you that our next President-elect training session is on Wednesday, March the 23rd. It will be virtual. You may use the same Zoom link that you used tonight and our two previous sessions. The March 23rd session is going to be facilitated by Gail Uday, who is a director of coaching and training with the Center for Conflict Resolution International. And she's going to do a session again, 6:30 to 8 o'clock, When Good People Disagree, Dealing with Conflict in Rotary. So I've heard Gail several times present, and she's a very dynamic speaker, as was Sandia. So we all deal with conflict in Rotary, so this will be a very worthwhile session for you. So Joseph, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. So I think you have a couple of things you want to chat with the President-elects about.
Yes, good evening, everyone. First thing that I want to discuss with you, we were talking about our PET 6, which is the visit to Evanston. Well, earlier on Monday, I received an email from RI telling us that the headquarters is not going to be open till sometimes in May. So I had quickly to scramble and talk to travel agents and cancel the date. So what has happened now, we have rebooked it for 19th to the 20th of June. So we moved it after a little bit later. By that time, we should be more comfortable with COVID as well. I've spoken to RI as well. They have put together a great session for us on Monday. And I'm working with the travel agent to make sure that everything is transferred over and everything will be done by then. So if I can just have a quick hands, or put your hands up, who's thinking of coming in June? Because I think that would change some things. So let me count quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Joseph, do you
7,
realize
8.
that the 19th is Father's Day?
No, 10. That's the only day we had, by the way, unfortunately. So I guess you can ask your family for Father's Day to buy you a ticket to go away. I'm thinking that would be, so hopefully you'll make it. So we had, I think, about 20, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yes, no, about that. Okay, great. More information will come out as we get closer, and once we get the tickets drawn up, once we make all the changes. At this point, everything we were trying to put them into sometimes in May. Unfortunately, in May it's not going to work, just because we have a lot of things happening in May, and we're not able to do that. Rafi, you have your hand up. Rafi?
No, I thought you asked me to put it up for Chicago. I want to go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. What did he say? He's not going to go, or he's going to go?
Yeah.
He's going to go.
Said he's
Okay.
going to go.
Excellent. Now,
Yeah, I have
the
a
next
question.
thing.
I have a question.
Yes, Ken.
I apologize.
That's
I may
okay.
have missed it, but what is the plans for the April 2nd live session of PETS training?
So Beth, I'm going to go partly to you, and then so Beth.
Okay, so it's going to be a face-to-face, Ken, at the Jubilee Pavilion in Oshawa. It'll be like an 8 to 2 session. It's going to really focus on hearing from the district leaders on the various topics of membership, foundation, public image, all of those things, and also an opportunity for you to get to meet and know your president-elect colleagues. We can send a detailed agenda out, Joseph. Joseph and I are meeting at the Jubilee Pavilion next Wednesday just to confirm arrangements, but then shortly after that we can send out an agenda so people clearly know the time that we're starting for registration. Breakfast is a light breakfast is included. There'll be a break, there'll be lunch, and very worthwhile sessions that will assist you in your president's role. I was just talking to Sandia, president's role.
Yeah, and if you can't attend for the whole day, you can attend parts of the day. I would take it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can come for part of the day, Ken.
Yeah, just come for part of it, at least.
Come for whatever part works for you.
Rhonda, it's on a Saturday.
Yeah, I have a couple of conflicts, but I'm going to make this a priority.
Yeah, it's Saturday, April the 2nd. But we'll, as I say, once we've been there next Wednesday, just to look at the site and confirm things, we will we'll get a detailed agenda out to everybody. But so mark your calendars. It is Saturday, April the 2nd.
Okay,
right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, what's I think Rhonda already put it in the chat. May 13th to the 16th is our district conference. Ron has, I'm going to share something with you. So here it is, it's in Oshawa. A great number of speakers we're having. Let me see if I can bring them out. Here it is. We're going to have Dr. Peter Juni speaking, the scientific director of COVID-19. You probably seen him on TV. He's going to be one of the speakers on Saturday. And also Jennifer Wright from GM. She'll come and talk about electric vehicles. There are a whole bunch of other wonderful events. There's golf on the Friday. There's a whole bunch of things. Please sign up as soon as you can. The hotel rooms are I think $129, which is great. The Marriott has been all renewed. It looks brand new. So please sign up. And we will also have the president-elects. We will have them on the Sunday. We will have a meeting with the president-elects to approve the budget for next year. So as a president-elect on Sunday, you will need to be there. But my suggestion is come in from Friday and spend the whole weekend there. That's all I got from me. Thank you.
Okay, and that's all I have for tonight. So thank you everybody for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, stay well, and we'll see you. Take care.
Thanks for your leadership.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.